Welcome to Fan TV and Chill. We're going to get straight to the point today. So obviously, this season in the Premier League and the majority of the Football League as well, there have been Premier League and the Football League as well brought in the kneeling to represent the Black Lives Movement and also to represent kicking out racism in the game. And for the majority of the season, bearing in mind there hasn't been any fans in the stadiums, it's been going all right. You know, teams have been kneeling, all the players have been doing it, and it's been getting recognised, and it's a big thing that the Premier League decided to do, and they should take more action like that, meaningful action that's actually showing people, not just a badge on a shirt. They've actually taken a form of action as well. And obviously this week, seeing what happened at Millwall when players on both teams, they took a kneel, and a section of the Millwall fans booed for the minute while players were taking a protest. And it has happened at other teams as well. You know, so what we really want to know is myself is what I would ask those Millwall fans is what are they booing? What are they booing at? That's what we want to know. Like, what are you booing at? Because if I get straight to the point, yeah, in the Premier League, I think we do have a minute's silence for Remembrance Sunday, and we remember people who fought in World War One and World War Two. And let's be honest, the majority of people who fought in World War One and World War Two are white, and we never hear any booing or any protests about that. And what we have to remember about this kick out racism, it's not just about black people. It's about every single form of race. Whether you're Asian, whether you're African, South American, North American, whatever, it's about the whole football community. It just doesn't represent black players or black people. It represents the whole football community. And so we're gonna share our opinions of how obviously we think the Premier League and football is obviously trying to deter racism and obviously kick it out. So what did you two make of the Millwall incident?
If I'm being honest, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised, to be fair.
Because it's more Millwall or just in general?
In terms of, I weren't surprised that it was Millwall, and also I weren't surprised that it actually happened, because there's been grumblings on like social media about how people are saying that the movement is already been watered down. Because like, even for instance, I think the start of the season, QPR put in place where their players weren't even kneeling. They were, because Les Ferdinand, they're gonna kneel. So it's weird because they put in place they weren't gonna kneel, so they haven't been kneeling. But then when QPR, I think the next game's against Millwall, they're gonna kneel because of what Millwall did. But I think myself, but you're going against what you said before. Like,
but I think they justify why though.
Yeah, I know. But I'm saying, but why then are you then gonna kneel now?
It's more just to reinforce the fact that they're not. I think from QPR side, the way I read it was almost like, because Les, let's face it, Les is part of that structure. So it's more. From what I'm reading into, is like he didn't feel like this means anything, or people actually.
If I'm being honest, if I'm being honest, like, I don't feel as if the Black Lives Movement has made the impact that a lot of people was expecting. Like, because we can say what we want about we're needing to make an impact into stopping racism in football, but if we're being honest, the Black Lives Movement is not about racism in football. It's about racism in the world. It's not. That's what it's for. And
were you expecting it to make any difference?
Literally. I was not expecting it to make any difference.
Were you?
I wasn't.
Did you think people?
I didn't think anything was. I didn't think the kneeling was good. I just felt like the kneeling was the same thing as the kick it out has been the same thing as the badges that we've had on the kick it out system. The same thing when they do the adverts when it's UEFA Cup and then you got Rio.
It's a bit of a joke, isn't it?
It is a joke.
So I wasn't really surprised a bit there. So it's just. I would like to know why the fans booed, the Millwall fans booed. Because if you can understand why they booed, because technically speaking, they could have technically booed with a similar thought process to what Les Ferdinand and what they've put in for QPR. You never know. So, but until we actually know the specifics around why they booed, it's still up in the air. If I'm being honest.
This is it. Like I think, the specifics are there. It's just like ignorance but anyway, I think that this campaign, like obviously, like you said, we've seen many before. Come on, man. Like nothing like that is ever gonna change racism in football. I don't think. I was never expecting it. We watched the Sky Sports recent-ish incident where after a week of having dedicating a specific time discussing racism, etc., and then there was that moment where Gary Neville is saying something about how he feels, the government and this, and he's giving his opinion, right? And about, what could be classed, people above are still quite racist, etc. Why does Sky feel the need to almost distance themselves out of it? What do they feel? What are they scared of? If they were ready to fight for it, that means, you say, Gary Neville, say whatever you have to say. Whoever's going to come against you will stand with you. So that was almost like, we don't want to be there.
You say what you want to say.
You say what you want to say.
And we can watch from a distance.
And you're the same show, TV platform or whatever, who had a week of televising talk show on racism. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Because at the end of the day, is it Rupert Murdoch or whatever? Because I don't know, but my thing is that the people at the above are friends. Because it's like, if you really want to fight for it, it's more those kind of actions that are gonna show. Same again. I was reading. I need to watch Anton Ferdinand's thing on the BBC, right? And then I was reading what they were saying on Sky, how as soon as he made a few comments on the BBC documentary, the FA felt the need to release something immediately to say, almost disagree with what he was saying, right? My thing is, whether the FA feel like they did what they could, but if you really want to deal with this situation, why do you feel like you almost have to show yourself we clean, we're good, because he's the victim here. So whatever he's feeling should be you need to hear him, you need to have a discussion and actually say, why are you saying what you're saying? Because them man there who are putting that statement, it's almost like shutting him down again. That's the same problem that's been happening. My views on racism, I almost take a different stance in it, how I see how as a black man and how I see even if I have my little people around me, how I can empower that people of my colour in it. Because my thing is, for some reason, as sad as it sounds, we've watched. I'm going to contradict myself because I've put a video once on Instagram of that young guy saying racism is not going to change. How they're crossing the neighbourhood and people are spitting on them and those kind of things. You compare the two, you think is a massive change, right? Calm. But for me, I'm seeing it almost like it's just a different form now, because the same people that we placing our trust in the wrong hands, in it, in the wrong people to tackle racism, because these big corporations and whatnot. Say for example, I pick like a phone brand or something like Apple. They'll be the first to have a campaign on racism here, but they're the same who are buying cheap stuff from countries that women are being raped and flipping kids are working in mines. That touches me because that's home. You know what I mean? So it's like we expecting the wrong people to give us solutions, isn't it? And what's in it for a white, what's the class? What do you say? Top class, privileged guy or whatever, rich guy. What's in it for him? That black people are equal or have equality or have equal opportunity. What's in it for them? and they have no incentive other than, you know, this is something that's, you just have to be a genuine person, which should be normal, like, you know. But I've spoken more than enough. But my stance is just different, and I don't think these bullshit campaigns are never gonna cut it. And the bullshit and the nonsense of, if say like if Raheem Sterling speaks and then they give him like accolades for speaking on behalf of black people, what kind of TV show is that?
Yeah.
Like, is it to clap for him for standing up? Just, I don't, I never, little things like that. And I wasn't even planning to speak so much today. I was gonna be a bit more reserved. The crazy thing is, when we speak and what we see as, you know, how the media can control racism and whatnot, I spoke to a white colleague one time, and when Raheem Sterling came out with this thing about how black players can be presented one way if they do certain things, etc., he was shocked. He didn't even realise. But to us, it's like, that's an everyday thing.
Yeah.
You know, so that's how much, you know, whoever, the same people that we place in our, I dare say we place in our trust, that we almost looking up to make a difference and create campaigns about racism, they know nothing about like black people who, you know what I mean, and black struggles.
Yeah.
So, and they have no sympathy, and they like, the organization that are there for profit. So the last thing on their minds is like, what, a black person to have rights? Like, why is that gonna be like any of their priorities? So for me, my personal message is always gonna be like, I love everyone, of course, like, and I feel like as a black man, I just feel like we just need to take ownership of our own ways and like empower our own people to have a different mindset. Because a racist person can never offend me, because like literally, like, you can say the most offensive words in my face is meaningless. I'll tell you why, because I know who I am. Like, I know who I am. I know my worth, and like nothing like those. But going back to those Millwall fans, it's like, really, you just like why? The question is like, they're campaigning about something that's like that's hurting people, and the same team that you're supporting have black players in them, and you be the first, if that black guy scores a winner or he plays, how does your brain work? How does your brain work when you're flipping 1 minute Sterling gets you a winner for the England team, and then you're buzzing, you're drinking your fucking pints, and then the next minute you're gonna come and disrespect, even though you don't have like you don't necessarily, because it almost becomes a bit of like, oh, why do they need to have the platform to do things like that? And it's like, everyone is got, if you don't agree with it, at least just let them do their thing. And why are you coming to just to fight against it? Because they're not just, it's not just a show. These are people's lives and how certain people feel. And then you're gonna come and just disrespect it. We're in town, you're walking in town, you see people standing there with pictures of, you know, like say like vegans or something like that, and the anti-animal cruelty, etc. Why would I go there and then argue with them? Or, you know, if I got nothing to do with it, I got nothing to do with it, and I just respect it and I leave it at that. And I'm surprised I've spoken this long, innit? I'm actually surprised, because, you know, before when you asked me about this, I was like, I was never gonna say anything, but it just goes to show you, like this race thing is touchy, innit? And like, yeah.
But for me, anyway, talk about the campaigns. For me, I think the campaigns I think they're important. I think the campaigns are important because it's just like this campaign. It's clearly made those Millwall fans feel so uncomfortable. And for anybody who comes along and argues, racism is dead from English football. No, it's not. If you deny incidents like Raheem Sterling, it's a one-off. Okay, fantastic, it's a one-off. Now you have nothing even aggressive or bad has happened. It's just people in peace trying to send a message that we don't want racism. But yet you still have a selection of fans booing that this doesn't happen, and they're booing that protest. I think situation like even the Kick It Out campaign, and even when the Kick It Out campaign was done, that the guy who led that was black. He was black. But for me, you have to have campaigns like this. You have to make racists feel uncomfortable. You have to make them feel like I want Millwall fans to feel so uncomfortable when this keeps happening that they walk out of the club, that they don't want to come and watch games anymore. It's that they don't feel like this is their club anymore. You're fucking. It's not your club anymore. There's black players there. There's white players. There's Asian. All players are there and they're representing and they're playing for that club. If it makes them feel uncomfortable and it makes them feel like, because obviously back in the day, a big thing with football clubs was football identity. Back in the day, pretty much all English clubs, majority of them, especially when hooliganism was about, it was all about you were a skinhead, and obviously when it was more popular hooliganism, when everybody was fighting in that, there was a lot more identity. And when you identified with your club back then, it was more the white male. The white male was what represented majority of clubs. And obviously that changed in time. And obviously some of them man now who see us bigging up black players or bigging up black things or other races, they feel uncomfortable. They absolutely feel uncomfortable in their skin. And that's what I love about it. If that's what they want to continuously do and promote racism, then things like this have to happen for them to feel uncomfortable. Because if at the forefront they're seeing the Premier League, every week it's happening in the Premier League and in the Football League, and these men are seeing the Football League and the Premier League, that they're not doing anything about it. They're not trying to do anything bigger than just the Kick It Out campaign. These men are going to be like, you know what, we can still get away with it. Probably come to the game, shout la-di-da-di-da, and we'll carry on. Nothing's really happening. But if things keep happening and put into place, they'll either have to come to the game and shut up, or they'll either have to come to the game and watch it. It's like what is being said about players walking off the pitch. If it continuously happen, sooner or later there will come. Maybe it might not be any of the players who are here now, but there will come a player who's a good quality player and who says, you know what, forget this. I'm done. I'm going to walk off the pitch. I'm not going to keep doing this and doing this and doing this. And eventually, a set of players will get to that stage where they'll just walk off the pitch. It might not be this generation, but if it keeps happening, a set of them will walk off the pitch. But I think you have to have things happening in the background.
Do you not think that would have been a perfect moment if this campaign was real? Yeah. If the energy that they came with it was real, that would have been a perfect moment for whoever's in charge of the FA, whatever. Deal with Millwall properly, and then send a message in it to be like, this is not just a joke.
Because, like I said, when the beginning of the day, if it's Remembrance Day and players are taking a minute's silence for the veterans who died for this country, if you have a set of protesters standing there booing, I'm sure there will be so much anger in this country, and those people would probably be found and probably be banned for the disrespect they've shown. And this has to be looked at the same thing. It is pure disrespect. It is pure disrespect for lives. Because what are you protesting about? You're protesting and saying a black person isn't equal to a white person, and racism should continue. And it's the same form of disrespect as disrespecting, as disrespecting people who fought and for this country and died for this, gave their lives for this country, so we could be here today. It is exactly the same form of disrespect. But it has to get to the stage where the FA take higher sanctions.
Why do they need to wait for it to happen and happen again? Because you see the thing about, like, when you say you can't punish a football club for fans.
What I was trying to say, predominantly, what I'm trying to, with that, I did go on to say, if it keeps happening at a certain club.
My question is, why does it need to? How many more examples do we need before something is done? That's my point. Because if you say it's harsh to punish, I know not every Millwall fan will be racist, but my thing is, that first example,
the presidents on further.
Because people before, even if you're an idiot, before you do, because that thing there, these are their most loyal fans, right? Their season tickets. They have a club thing. So this is almost, you know, when you take sample size, this is almost like to me that's a representation of Millwall fans, because not anybody's getting on that stadium in these circumstances. If you punish that club properly, forget about Millwall, but the next team, even just a guy who's naive will think about it before they do something because they're thinking, it could be peak from our club. Because people do care about their clubs. Anyway, man, racism. Fuck that shit, man.
Sum up.
But yeah, so it's a long season. Obviously, like I said, the campaigns like this need to run, and they need to be more than just a badge on a shoulder. And I think the kneeling of players on the pitch causes players to interact with it, and it causes fans to have to interact with it because the game is stopped for that minute or so, where everybody on that stadium and watching that game on TV, the only thing they focus on that much is kicking racism. They have to focus on that topic. And like I said, for those people who don't like it, it makes them feel completely uncomfortable. And that's where we've got to get to. We've got to make those people feel so uncomfortable that they don't want to come to the games anymore, and they don't feel like they can identify with their clubs anymore. As usual, thank you for watching. Please leave comments, share, subscribe, and thank you for your time as always. Over and out.
Nah, that point there, that was solid, man.